We can call him now before we go on.
Yeah, we're calling him now.
There you go.
Is
How you guys doing tonight?
the channel open? What's up? Happy holidays. Sorry we were not around.
Gotcha.
Well, we were around, but
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Year. All that good stuff. There you go. Go ahead, give old coach a call. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight, guys. On a Friday evening, got a special guest coming on.
Hello.
Hey, Coach.
Hey, T, how you doing, man? You all
Good.
right?
Yeah. Doing great. Hey, we are live on YouTube, but we haven't hit record, so we haven't actually officially started the show. This is the
pre-show.
This is the stuff behind the
Okay.
scenes that
Where the
everybody
magic
gets to see.
happens.
So we got people joining us as we're talking. But how you doing, man?
Yeah, doing well. Just busy.
You think?
A little bit?
Chase and Ian just walked in.
Oh, nice.
And so they're coming over, got some pizza, got some wings for them and stuff like that, So
Awesome.
Yeah, just have a bite to eat.
Chase
yeah.
had a hell of a year, man.
Yeah, he had a great year. He couldn't have played any better than he did. Yeah, he was fantastic.
Hey, Coach, Kevin Ricker here. Welcome back.
Hey, Kev.
And congratulations.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to see St. John's at all.
Hey, man, listen, you're walking in with
He's a flip.
17 belt loops. I think there's not many people that want to see you either, my friend.
Yeah, I wish. I mean, St. John's, and you guys are loaded for bear and then some. I talked to Brian Griffin today, and we were laughing about everything,
That's fantastic. Well, I know he's happy. We're all happy to have you back in the league. Welcome back.
We're gonna
Yes.
get to that. We're gonna get to that.
Yes.
Coach, remember
Yes.
Ken Marangolo?
Hey, Coach. Nice to see you again. Talk to you again, that is.
Yeah, hey, Tim, how you doing? How are you?
Ken.
Oh, no, Ken. But I'm the guy that kept you up way too late at Tommy Joe's that one night so long ago.
Yeah, those guys are out of control. That guy. I can't. He can't handle those guys anymore. They're too wild.
All right, Coach, we're going to get started here. One second, we're going to intro the show, and then we're going to get going.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you.
All right, here we go.
Welcome back.
Thank you for joining us on a special edition, Friday night edition of the WCAC Spectacular. On behalf of First Amendment Sports, I'm Ken Marangolo. He's Tim Strachan.
Hey, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. It's been great. Sorry we were gone for the last couple of weeks. We had to spend some time with our family. And I want to say happy holidays to you guys, too. It's glad to be back. Is this a special edition or with just a makeup?
I think it's a combination. Kevin Ricka?
Hey, it's Friday night. We can call it whatever we
Yeah, it's
want,
true.
but let's have some fun.
We are here tonight to talk about the greatest high school sports conference in the land, as we are wont to do. And we're going to do that tonight with a legend from the WCAC who is back. Coach Bill McGregor announced as the new head football coach for the DeMatha Catholic Stags. Coach, welcome to the show. Welcome back to the show, I should say, and welcome back to the conference.
Hey guys, how you doing? Thank you so much for having me on this show. It's really a great honor, great privilege. Happy New Year to you and all your listeners. And yes, I'm really excited about having the opportunity to come back to DeMatha High School. I was there.
I don't know
for
who's
39 years.
Yeah.
And 29 years as a head coach, and it was a great experience. I love DeMatha. I love the guys who I had the opportunity to coach, and had great assistant coaches. And I can't wait to get everything going again.
Well, there's a lot of happy people around here, Coach, because I know that a lot of people really pulling for you and hoping that this all worked out and brought you back home where you deserve to be, and just looking so forward to being a part of it and seeing how it all goes from here. Because you had being my coach and a mentor and a friend to me for so long, it's been awesome.
Oh, Timmy, well, you know how I feel about you. I mean, nobody was better. I actually was telling Chase Young about you as you walked in, who you were and your history and things like that. He couldn't believe it, and it's just you're just fantastic, and the whole WCAC. I mean, what can you say? It's the greatest conference in the country, and not only in football but in basketball and baseball.
Yep.
I mean, there's nothing like it. And the other thing I think is so neat is camaraderie. I'll tell you a story today. I was at the dentist this morning, and I walk in, and I was referred to the dentist by Mikel McKee, who played for me, played Virginia Tech.
Oh yeah,
Well,
I remember.
one of the guys, the dentist I went to, okay, was Michael Wright, who played for Kevin's dad on the 1989 St. John's football team. And so we were laughing about that.
Mike Wright's a great guy.
Yeah, then I mentioned how Kevin Plank scored 3 touchdowns in that game, and and John Dessler, when he came off the corner and made a big hit, and Danny Crowley fumbled, and Kevin picked up, ran for a touchdown.
Crowley
got a touchdown in the flat for a touchdown, and another touchdown on a ball where your dad always had great trick plays where he snapped the ball through the quarterback's legs to the fullback, and Kevin ran in that way. So we actually did a video today. And he sent it to Kevin and sent it to John. Pat Ward and Brian Griffith got it. And they were just laughing like crazy too. So I mean, it's the WCAC.
Well, that's how this whole show started, Coach. I mean, we got Kevin Ricka, St. John's '94, Ken Marangolo, McNamara '94, me from DeMatha in '94, and we were just at a party one night going, "Hey, this is stuff we wanted to do," and he goes, "I got the equipment." Ken says, "I got the equipment. We can just start right now." And then that's how we started doing this. That's camaraderie right there. What, 25 years, almost 30 years in the making.
Absolutely. He just pulled out an exact play-by-play of the 1989 championship game. That was 29 years ago. And for him to start talking about that first on this is the reason why we are so excited to have him back in the league. The amount of respect you have, Coach, talking about one of your very few championship losses, because there were 17 W's in that mix.
Yeah.
And that's what you're talking about on our show. That's why the league got a lot better today with your re-arrival, if that's a word.
Well, I appreciate that, guys. Yeah, thank you so much for that, for the compliments. But it's not about me. It's the guys you coach and the guys who everybody played against and the coaches there. I mean, it's a legendary league, and there's nothing like the WCAC. And when it's time to compete, you compete as hard as you can. But the game's over, you shake hands, and you go off and have a Diet Coke together. That's what it's all about.
If I can get a little deep for just a second, but also share an anecdote. I did weigh in at one point just to share my opinion that I if you were willing to come back, Coach, I would love to see you get hired at DeMatha. And I used one anecdote that a few years ago, I was having like one of those midlife crises. You got a lot going on. You got kids. You got all this stuff happening, and I had stuff going on and at work too, and I just needed to talk to somebody, so I called Bill. I called you, and we talked for like 45 minutes, and I just wanted some advice and hear what you had to say. And at the end, we ended the call. You asked me. You said, "Are you going to Mass?" And I said, "I'm trying as best I can," which is probably the same answer I gave you 30 years ago, if you had asked me that question. And then you said, "Hey, just remember to always keep God in your life." And what I ended that email with to those at DeMatha was, we didn't talk about football once. Never came up. Football never came up in the conversation once. And I knew that whoever they hired, they were going to win championships there. They were going to be good. But that's why I was pulling for you, Coach, and that's how much you mean to your former players.
Well, again, Timmy, I can't thank you enough. I mean, those kind words are unbelievably nice of you to say. But it's a priority system, and I think all the WCAC schools probably have the same. Where it's first off God, because we're all Catholic schools, and religion is the most important thing in your life. The second most important, obviously, is your family. There's nothing like your immediate family, then the football family or the school family, whether you played sports or not. And the third priority is always the academics. I mean, the academics in all the schools are really difficult, where the kids are held accountable. They have to study. They have to work hard. They have to read, write, do homework, and that's what it's all about. And the great, then the athletic end. But the final look at is look at the guys today. Look at the kind of fathers they are. Look at the kind of husbands they are. Look at the kind of brothers or brothers they are, to their family. But that's what it's all about. It's a much bigger picture than football. Football is just a carrot I have to maybe do my teaching and help help the kids out as best I can to get where they want to be in life.
Coach, our families have known each other since back in the Deschanel Parish days. I have unsuccessfully been a water boy, a player, and a coach against you. We podcasted together very well back at Tommy Joe's a couple years back.
Yes.
But one thing that stands out to me is the man at the other side of this table right here, T. Strachan. And when I got a huge dose of who you really were as a person was throughout the journey we all went through together when T got injured. That's when I realized what type of man you were, and you became my friend at that particular moment. We all were together. And once again, nothing to do with football, like T saying, echoing his sentiments. Got to know the man that I knew at Deschanel. My dad is the most competitive guy in the world, and he loves you. So, that's kind of crazy to me.
Your dad and I coached the girls' softball team over at Deschanel.
That's true.
I think when they 5th grade or 6th grade when your sister and my daughter were together. I mean, they couldn't even swing a bat, and we're trying to coach them in softball. We had a blast, though. I mean, it's wonderful.
It was awesome.
You love your dad. I mean, we had year in and year out great games. They'd always come down to the very end. Somebody would catch a break. That's usually determined the outcome. But they're always competitive, and you go to WCAC meetings at the end of the year, and there was no hostility. Everybody's laughing, everybody's joking, and everybody. It was a good time. It's the WCAC. That's what it's all about. I mean, it's something that you almost got to be a part of to totally understand the whole dynamics of it.
Well, couldn't have any more respect for you than we do right now. We're super happy for you.
At what point in time?
You tell Ken. I spoke to Marco Clark today.
There you go.
So I did the whole game. Like Brian Griffin from St. John's and Marco Clark from McNamara. Marco coached with me for years. He's president of Bishop McNamara right now, and also a very good friend. So I mean, we had the whole WCAC today.
Oh, friend of the show for sure.
Yeah, shout out to Marco who checks us out. I mean, Coach, it's still so new and fresh and exciting. You're coming back to the league, back to your kind of the place you made great while you were there. At what point in time, if it hasn't happened already, do you kind of say, "Oh my goodness, look who I have to play"? Look at the level of competition. Not that you're unfamiliar with it, and not that you're not ready for it, that you don't embrace it. But when you look at the landscape of the WCAC, especially today, what stands out to you? What is something that you're either most excited about, or I wouldn't say most afraid of, maybe most focusing on, because like for DeMatha to be successful in this league, they're going to have to watch out for this or that.
Well, it actually happened the minute I hung up from this afternoon about noon. I got a phone call from Dr. McNamara, from Father James, who's president of DeMatha, and Dr. McNamara, who's the principal, and they said, Bill, you have the job, and I accept it. You have the job. I accepted it. Then I get off the phone, and I'm getting ready to call my wife Brenda. I just said to myself, what in the world have I got myself into?
Yeah.
And I was an assistant coach at Gilman, assistant coach at St. Francis. There's no worries. All you can do is take care of your position. And if they do well, everything's good. And I'm saying, holy mackerel, am I insane or what? My daughters, they're calling me and say, Dad, what do you do?
Hey.
So it's, it happened right away. I mean, and then, of course, I don't know what kind of schedule we have right now at DeMatha, because Ed King, I think, was taking care of it, and Elijah, and I haven't had the chance to really sit down and talk to them about that. But I know whenever you have to line up against Good Counsel, whenever you have to line up against St. John's, whenever you have to line up against Bishop McNamara, I mean, it's going to be a dogfight, and you just hope you have the kids prepared as best as possible, because they're going to be incredible football games.
Don't forget the reigning champion, Gonzaga Eagles, either, Coach.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, of course, Gonzaga. Right.
We got a lot of them listening right now.
Do we have to play them too?
Oh yeah.
I thought I could skip them on the schedule this year.
Well, I got
a bye. I got a pass on that one. I thought.
I was going to ask you, because I think it lost in kind of the ridiculousn's of the way that game ended, the championship game ended, the way Gonzaga won. In fact, the last two games Gonzaga played, and the manner in which it happened. I think that story kind of swept away what we all saw with our own eyes. So we're sitting, we say courtside. We're sitting on the sidelines of that game, watching what we still believe is probably the greatest football game I've ever seen. I think the greatest football game we've ever seen between
Best game
DeMatha
I've seen with my own eyes.
and Gonzaga, and watching kids make plays. There wasn't a kid on the field that lost the game for their team. Every time you looked, you saw a guy in blue or purple making a play. And that was very, very true for the DeMatha Stags. Up and down the roster, playmakers. You're getting a lot of them back. But they're so sound. When you come back into a team like that, first and foremost, is there any kind of residual effect of almost winning the championship? And are you dealing with that at all, or will you want to deal with that at all? And then beyond that, how do you kind of shut the door on that and say, okay, we get a fresh crack in 2019, and change the mindset somehow?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I watched the game on your broadcast.
Ding, ding, ding.
And
Thank you.
You guys did a tremendous job. I watched the opening game, and then I watched the WCAC.
Man, you didn't have a whole lot going on that day, did you?
It's our guy, man. It's our guy.
It's in your blood.
Yep.
That's the reason why I wanted to come back to one of the reasons I wanted to come back to DeMatha so much. You bleed it. But I watched the games, and I want to say you guys were fantastic.
Thank
the
you.
coverage you gave and the commentating was absolutely fantastic. I loved it.
Thank you.
But yes, I mean, that was, I thought, one of the best football games I ever saw. I couldn't believe the last minute of the game. I don't think in the history of all the years I've been involved in the WCAC ever saw an ending like that.
Neither did 3.5 million other people who got clips of it.
Yeah. The DeMatha kids played so hard. They played their hearts out. The kickoff return was amazing.
Yep.
But the whole ball game, they played that way. And the Gonzaga kids never quit. They were down 20 points and came back and kept on fighting, clawing, scratching, and made something happen at the end, which you couldn't believe. But it was a great game. And, again, it's what you get in WCAC. You never know what's going to happen. I can think of some of the championship games that we've been involved with. I mean, they came down to the wire. They made the last.
I remind Kevin of the 92.
91.
I'm sorry, 91. I couldn't remember which one you were in.
I can't forget it.
Both. But the St. John's DeMatha championship game. But we've covered that enough.
Yeah, but again, it's a last minute play. My first year in 1982, we beat Gonzaga 21-14 on a Eric Chapman to Joe Conley's pass with, again, less than a minute to go in the game. It was a 68-yard fade. What are the chances of that happening? It's just unbelievable. And there've been other games like that. Some of our DeMatha good council games over the years. They were just legendary. How they would end, and you just never knew what the outcome was going to be until the game final whistle would blow.
Yeah, that's very, very true. And I just want all our listeners to recognize one thing. Coach has not had one night of sleep as the new head coach at DeMatha yet.
No.
And he's already down in the basement
right.
talking smack with the boys about the WCAC.
That's right.
I love
awesome.
it. I love it,
Hey,
man.
I do have one burning question for you, Coach. As you said, you went to Gilman to be over there with Biff Poggi and his crew and what he's established there, and then moved on to St. Francis as well. And then now coming back as a head coach, one, when did you really get the idea that you would want to? And two, what is it that you're going to bring back that may be different from when you left, having had that experience?
Yeah, number one, anytime you're a head coach, it's always, I think, in your blood, T.
Yeah.
It's something that, even as an assistant coach, you want to be as loyal and as best assistant coach you can be. But at the same time, you want to, you always thought about how would I do this or how would I run my program, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I love working for Biff. Biff does a tremendous job as a person, and does a tremendous job, motivating his players, and he does it the right way. I mean, he every practice begins with a Bible verse.
Mm-hmm.
During 4 hours before the ball game, the kids have a chapel where they have that Bible verse is continued all week and ends in the chapel before the game.
Right.
I mean, it's always done right.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was great working for him at Gilman and then St. Francis. We had St. Francis. St. Francis is rolling. I mean, Yeah. They are loaded for bear in terms of what they have coming back. Last year they're undefeated. And they have, I think, 9-11 back on defense and 7-11 back on offense. And their quarterback was a freshman.
So you're not setting them up for a game next season then?
No, I haven't called him yet for anything. I was going to let Kevin call him for St. John. I was going to recommend St. John to call him and see if he wants to play him.
That's funny.
But I think one of the big things I learned is playing multiple sports.
Yeah.
Gilman.
Hey, there you go.
Okay,
That's been a mantra on here, Coach. We talk about it all the time.
Multiple sport players.
Yeah, Gilman only has 400 boys in their high school, ninth grade, 10th grade, 11th and 12th, 100 in each class. And so they also require the boys to play a sport each season. So they were all multiple sport guys. And I don't think you can duplicate a lacrosse workout as opposed to lifting weights. You'd much rather do that lacrosse workout or a wrestling workout or a basketball workout. You gain so much more. And the other thing I think you gain, I think they get tired of hearing the same coach all the time. And so now they're hearing from the track coach, they're hearing from the baseball coach, the lacrosse coach.
Yeah.
And the third thing is they got to compete. You know how you were, Timmy, with basketball, right? You're on the foul line. There's 10 seconds to go in the game, and you got to sink those 2 foul shots.
Yeah.
Your heart's going a mile a minute, but you got to have the composure, and I think that carries over and lends you to be a better football player. Or you're in lacrosse, in a lacrosse game or a baseball game, you got 3 balls, 2 strikes, and you get the base loaded. You got to deliver. So I think there's nothing like playing multiple sports, and I'm going to highly encourage our kids at DeMatha, run track, play lacrosse, and be multiple sport athletes.
We have a stat we use all the time is that out of the 106 players in the Super Bowl, 103 of them were multiple sport athletes in high school.
In high school, yes.
Oh my gosh, I had no idea. What a stat!
That's incredible.
Amazing.
Super Bowl 52. The last one. I know it sounds crazy to some people. It does.
That may be very different in 10 years.
And Coach, I always thought that as a player, when I played baseball, Kevin Gibbs was the best baseball player in the country. I'm looking up at that guy with wide eyes. Your roles are different in these sports. You learn how to be a better teammate. You might be the best quarterback in the nation. You might be the 5th best baseball player on the team. That changes that dynamic, and you learn from it. And that's one thing that I was always taught growing up. And I just figured when the seasons changed, you grabbed a glove or your high tops or your helmet. We didn't know any better.
Yeah, I'm with you all the way. I think that's the only way to go, Kim. And there's nothing like it's high school. You're not going to be able to play that in college. You're not gonna
ever
play
again. Exactly.
Yeah, have fun. I mean, go do it and play multiple sports. It's going to make you better. I mean,
it's absolutely going to make you better. It's going to prepare your body. The nature of injuries and the way kids are getting hurt in college and pros especially. Coach, it's something we talk about all the time on this show. You put your finger right on it.
You nailed it.
Yeah, you nailed it. We have trainers who come on here. We have coaches who come on our show all the time, and they lament the specialization of grade school kids and the year-round nature of playing one sport. We played on the street or in the backyard every day for 365 days a year, all sports, and we weren't getting injured, the way that it seems that the kids are getting injured now because they're not working all the muscle groups. They're not training their body to do a variety of different things. And I think, to your point, Coach, I think there is something mental about it. I do. I think there's something. Your mind is not challenged if you're doing one thing for 365 days a year.
Oh, I agree with you 100%. I mean, plus it gets, how boring is it to go into a weight room all the time and just lift weights?
Oh.
Or how boring
Amen,
is it to get,
Coach.
I actually liked it.
ladder
Sorry.
drill or plyometrics and things like. You can only do that for so long.
I love this. That's why I play baseball, Coach.
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, yeah, baseball's the greatest there, but you got to compete in baseball. I mean, you got to steal that base. You can't get thrown out. You got to take the lead. You got to read the pitcher's back heel, see what his motion is over to first. So you're thinking all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're
No doubt.
planning ahead. If the ball's hit to me, what am I going to do with it? And it's a great carryover. Now didn't you, Kevin, as quarterback at St. John's, right? You're always thinking, what's the check? What's the audible? What's the coverage? What am I going to go to?
It was quarterback sneak. You remember?
About 50% of the time it was.
Or it's one of your dad's trick plays. Your double pass. Or you guys had more trick plays than I've ever seen in my life.
That's hilarious.
And we were the most boring guys in the world. You can ask T would look at me and say, "When are you going to throw the ball, Coach?"
Yeah.
You know?
I just knew I had to make the best out of the opportunities that you did give me. So.
And we're making the best out of the one you gave us tonight, Coach,
That's
because
right.
I know it's day one on the job.
That's right.
And we're all thrilled, and we all have nothing but respect for you doing this for us tonight. And we are so happy you're back, Coach. It's going to be so awesome. This league, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Take a look around, man.
The best league. Just how could it get better?
got a little better.
It got a little better. I don't know how that was possible, but it did.
Exactly.
Well, I don't know if it did, but I'm excited about being back. It's an honor and privilege to come back, be the head football coach at DeMatha and compete in the WCAC again. And I agree with all you guys. I mean, it is by far the best league in the world. And hats off to you guys. I mean, it's wonderful to be able to follow you guys, your live streams and things like that in football and in basketball. It's better for the whole conference. And you guys, like I said, you guys do such a great job in your radio show. And, I just appreciate you having me on. And, I'd be happy to come on anytime you have me and talk WCAC.
Nice, Coach. Welcome back. Welcome back.
All
It's
right.
been awesome. Thank you so much. We're going to let
All
you
right.
go because Ian Thomas and Chase Young probably have eaten all of the pizza by
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, save
like
some
2
wings, boys.
Save him at least 2 wings.
Wing guns. I don't know if I'm going to get it. Chase is a monster, right? And Ian's a monster.
That's
Ian
great.
looks like he can still play, and Chase looks like an NFL defensive end right now.
Well, tell Chase, too, that I don't want to get him in trouble with the SID's office at Ohio State, so I'll go through the proper channels, but we'll get him on the show, too.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Okay, sounds good, guys.
Thanks,
All right,
Coach.
thanks, Coach.
Welcome back,
Thank
buddy.
you so much for your time, Coach.
Okay, see you. Thank you. Bye.
Guy
That was
almost-
awesome.
There you go.
I mean, he had me welled up when he was saying it's in your guys' blood. It's in your blood, just like mine.
Yeah.
That's why I took this job. Are you kidding
and you know,
me?
And you know from your dad, you know that it takes a special person to do that job at any school, right? To do it right, and you do have to have it in your blood.
He just blew me away. That was awesome.
So let's give him and anyone else joining us tonight a little bit of a whirl around the conference. It is the heart of basketball season. We're coming out of the holiday conference, holiday tournament season. A lot of teams traveled
Yeah, it was
over
awesome.
Christmas and New Year's, and a lot of teams in the WCAC did real well. And let's lead it off with we asked the last time we did this show was just before Christmas, and we said, "What do you want for Christmas?" And what I said, and I think we all kind of said in some way, shape, or form,
No,
was
you had the best.
a national championship.
Yeah.
A national championship in any sport. I'll take any sport, no matter what it is, a national championship. And we still have 2 teams in the girls' basketball that have a very good shot at achieving that goal, and that's the St. John's Lady Cadets and the Bishop McNamara Lady Mustangs. And right now, they've been flip-flopping, but currently, at the moment, hats off to Bishop McNamara, Frank Oliver's squad. The Lady Mustangs are number 1 by any poll you find. Every national ranking in the country has the
Awesome.
Bishop McNamara Lady Mustangs. Undisputed number 1 team in the
Yeah,
country.
if you don't know, now you know.
If you don't know, now you know. And we're going to be on January 22nd. We're going to be somewhere. McNamara is hosting the game between McNamara and St. John's, although we're still waiting to find out where that location is going to be.
Man. I cannot wait.
And then we're going to be at St. John's covering
be awesome.
the two of those programs, Coach Oliver and Coach Scribner's AZ Fudd and Elia over at McNamara, who's just blowing it away. I take a lot of pride, obviously, in the Mustangs, but just the fact
you're
that
in the perch for the first time, man.
it's fun when your school's on top and everyone gets a chance to see that, but doing it right, doing it in a fun, entertaining way, in many cases in a dominating fashion. But as we all know, once you start hitting these league games, I think they're playing the Bishop Adner's playing Paul VI tonight. I know they're up in the fourth quarter. There was a 7:00 tip-off. I think McNamara was had them around 40-25, something like that in the fourth quarter. So a little bit of a lower scoring game than we've seen. Paul VI is a classy program as well.
Oh, they're right there behind those two teams we talked
Everyone
about. They're
knows
right there. That's not.
They were
That's,
nationally ranked last year.
and started off this year as well. They had a couple weird losses, but
That high, though, last
they're
year, I
right
believe.
there.
Yeah.
They're right there, and that's not an upset.
No.
That's just nationwide. You'd read that and say that's an upset. Around here, we know what goes on.
Yep.
down here.
No, it would be a Friday night.
And you're going to see these teams start to beat each other up. So we look forward to seeing great games. We hope that they can all make their way healthy to the postseason. The Bishop McNamara Lady Mustangs aren't the only great story in the WCAC. On the boys' side, had some amazing conference action or tournament action, and I know Kevin, you got some.
Yeah, I want to hit off.
I've
got a couple, but with the first stat guys, shout out to Darren McClinton,
Yes.
Doug Martin, all the people involved with Team Takeover. All 10 guys that won the 2018 Peach Jam Championship this summer, have now everyone on the team has gotten a scholarship.
That's awesome.
And it's ridiculous. And 7 of those 10 guys are from the league. Anthony Harris, Jameer Young, Justin Moore, Costin Kogelnick, Josh Watts, Casey Morcell, and Josh Odoro. 7 of the 10 champs from this summer from the WCAC. That's a crazy stat, man.
And as
That's
Darren
nuts.
pointed out, 3 of them Ivy League.
Yeah. Brown, and oh yeah, I didn't realize these guys are smart too.
Yes.
And Darren pointed that out.
Yes.
This is amazing.
That was the part that
This
got
is
me
amazing.
to really pay attention.
Well, I love it, and he's not here to defend himself, and that's why I said that.
He will be.
Oh,
But,
he's going to be
For
walking in
future
any
shows
second.
tonight.
But when we're messing around talking about national championships, Mike Jones's squad over there, I know it's been a big DeMatha push tonight, and why wouldn't it be? These guys are tearing it up. But the DeMatha Christmas Classic, and you bring a team like Wilson, I mean, they're loaded.
Yep.
I mean, you're playing against the best, and they happen to be right up the street. But what a game. Earl Timberlake gets the MVP with the buzzer beater in the finals. Kogelnick again, a super playmaker, a knockdown shooter. I mean, the guy's nasty. I love his game. And Hunter Dickinson, no one moves like that size.
Ooh.
And Justin
He's
Moore
finally-
heading to Villanova. I mean, that's quite a nasty foursome.
Yeah.
So Earl got the MVP. And those other 3 we just talked about were all tournament. A buzzer beater victory over a loaded Wilson team who's loaded with scholarship talent.
And I'm glad to see Hunter playing the way he is because I thought maybe last year in the championship game he just wasn't 100%, but you can see that he's 100% now. Man, you can see why a guy 7'1" and moves like that is highly coveted.
I mean, come on,
Yeah.
come on. Now there are some other teams out there that were had pretty good Christmases.
Giving Doug Martin a little bit of the business.
Without
too.
a doubt, that was cool, man. You gotta love that. Doug Martin been down here in the basement. What a great guy to have on our side.
He's the
Doug
best.
took it great.
He is
That's
the
awesome.
best. He's such a cool cat. The cadets have had a huge couple weeks here, man. They're on a 7-game win streak. They went down to South Carolina, played in the Rotary Round Ball Classic. Casey
Fun
Morse,
trip.
It is a fun trip,
Sounds
right?
like a fun word to say. Rotary Round Ball Classic.
Oh, no, it just rolled off the tongue Rotary style, didn't it? But Casey Morcell-led team goes down there, and Ishmael Leggett gets the MVP, plays just ridiculously hard and showing up on the scene along with Darius Maddox, who was an all-tournament guy who also last week picked up offers from an in-house visit from Clemson and a George Mason offer last week. So these guys
Great.
are coming along.
Yep.
I told you they won 7 straight. That includes wins over Bullis, Georgetown Prep, and a Rock Creek Christian team that's nasty. But tonight begins a stretch of 5 WCAC games in 8 days
Nice.
for the cadets. I mean, talk about you better go on a 7-game win streak before you hit
Yeah.
that. I mean, you just better. I mean, it's just crazy what they do. Gonzaga down at the Slam Dunk the Beach, taking care of their side of the bracket, playing right now, I think, against Bishop Gorman tonight or tomorrow. Someone help me out here, but it's on ESPN3.
Bishop Gorman as good in basketball as they are, hyped in football.
Yes, no, maybe so. I mean, I imagine they are,
Yeah.
or else they wouldn't be playing against a team like
Yeah.
Gonzaga on a ESPN televised, not ESPN televised. It's ESPN3, ESPN streamed event. I mean, you don't just play against Gonzaga if you're no good.
And
so
how about
that's my
O'Connell?
answer to that.
I was
How
gonna
about
say the
O'Connell taking
Gonzaga-O'Connell
down
game.
Gonzaga in an overtime win just last night, correct?
Big
It was
game.
last night.
I mean,
Big performance for O'Connell.
Joe Wooten, hats off, buddy.
ridiculous.
Good job, man.
It is. It's ridiculous. Gonzaga has Terrence Williams going for 23, but I mean, Charlie Weber at O'Connell had a ridiculous. I mean, they won the DMV Tip-Off Classic. They have Charlie Weber gets the MVP. The guy's balling out. They showed him. I mean, he went up for a dunk. His head was even with the rim, and they were saying that was his night to get up, and the bench went nuts. But man, did he look good?
Sometimes
that guy,
you feel it. I never did.
That guy can
personally,
play.
but
They played in 2 of the top 10 tournaments ranked in the nation. They ranked 10 Christmas tournaments in the nation. O'Connell played in 2 of them.
That's ridiculous.
Yes, the Emerald Coast 16 and the Beach Ball Classic as well. Marcus Dockery
Beach
made
ball's
an
in
all
South
tournament
Carolina,
team.
South Myrtle Beach, right? Yeah, we played in that.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a
It's
ridiculous
the big time. Shout out to Marcus Dockery as an all tournament guy. Also, Charlie Weber doing it again. Then come back to town and take an overtime win where they all. Hey, our guy Jamal Banks going for 15 and 8.
I was going to
There
say,
you go, Mr. Banks.
another multi-sport athlete.
Yep.
Brayon Freeman, Charlie Weber, Marcus Dockery. I mean, Jamal Banks. They can do it. They can get it done, man. And Gonzaga's got guys all over the place. I mean, they say Chuck Harris and Anwar Gill right now have had the best 2 weeks, shown out. Now they all take turns. They're loaded, but. You know, those guys really shown out over the holiday season and heading into this.
What about our boys from Carroll?
Oh, Carroll had a big win over Good Counsel heading into the Governor's Challenge where they went 3-0. Corey Barnes and Trey Thomas are being talked about all over the place with what they've done over this time.
Got a big man.
But now we're talking about, back to Coach Bill McGregor, talking about everything we're talking about, multiple sport athletes. Anton Harrison only has 22 scholarship offers. They're only from places like Michigan, Texas A&M, Oklahoma, Ohio State, Penn State, and Ole Miss.
For football, right?
For football,
it?
as
Yeah,
a
that's
left,
it.
he's a left tackle. The dude is 6'5", 280. He had a buzzer-beating win over the Olympic Trojans. He had a putback. The guy's playing super minutes. I mean, I'm telling you.
For a college line coach to see a guy of that size playing basketball, is like it's like a dream come true.
A dream come true. One that
Footwork,
that
right?
I got to live. Daryl Gilliam and Pat Ward were my two tackles in football. They both played basketball with me all through
this league,
and we're great basketball players.
League.
You don't want to. Those two guys would set 2 high screens. I'm running anyone off either one of them. I might not see them till Tuesday, and it's Friday tonight.
And they'd be looking for you.
Exactly. Still looking. But, you know, I can feel a little behind the back window. One of those two guys, it was caught and put back in. We were running back down court. And that's just what I thought it was. And I love that big Anton Harrison was doing stuff like that. And, man, a huge Christmas break for Carroll. Huge Christmas break for Carroll. And St. Mary's Riken winning their bracket also of the Governor's Challenge.
There you go.
And Lewis Tang catching 33 all tournament, blowing people up. Devin Caesar, Aaron Jasper with 12 points, 9 rebounds, and 5 assists, taking Gaithersburg High School down by 20. And a huge Christmas for them, along with the mentions that Winston Tabbs, last year's superstar from St. Mary's Riken, ACC Rookie of the Week up at Boston College, just ripping it up. Went for 20 and 9 the other night. It seems like he's catching 20 and 5 to 8 assists game in, game out.
He's a player.
And, you know, you get bred in the WCAC. You head to the ACC, which I would also refer to in my world as the league, as far as basketball is concerned. And this young freshman is just killing it. Killing it. I mean, check him out when you watch Boston College play. He might be the most unheralded freshman, from what I've read, in the nation right now. He's the big secret, but he ain't a secret around here, and he ain't a secret at this poker table.
Is that where I think Walt's kid, the Wizard, I think
just signed with BC.
With BC, yeah,
from St. Andrews, absolutely. No,
friend of the show.
It's. I mean, you know, you look around at all this, and you're like, wow. I mean, holy moly. We're taking on the best. We're competing with the best. We're beating the best. Hey, you can't win every one, but there's one thing that we do around here. When that bell rings, we march directly out into the center of the ring. And that's one thing I'm super proud of. Yeah, what do you got? What do we got is the better question. And what we want to find out is what do we got, and we'll figure that against the best.
So it's a fun time in the WCAC, and I could say that any Tuesday night or special edition Friday night that you catch us. And it doesn't go without saying it's not lost that it's been this way for a long time. And so we wanted to get out on a little bit of history. And Kevin did, went and did all the digging. But if you were watching football,
if you couldn't have told by what he was reading off his Raymond notebook,
I wasn't reading off of it.
No,
he
was
have
not
it there
reading.
just in case.
Yeah, just in case.
If I write it down, I remember it. You know that. We grew up together. And before we forget, real quick, Ken, the Under Armour game had Quentin Johnson, Tremont Morris, Brash, Keelan Robinson, and Joe Wette from Gonzaga. First 3 from St. John's, played live on television last night. Tremont Morris Brash got to give his commitment to the University of Central Florida at halftime with his family around him. Not shocking to me.
To me, it is. It is.
Well, Cam Good signed with them 2 weeks
shocking
ago.
for not for Tremont, but for UCF.
Oh, yes.
It's shocking for UCF to see
They're for real.
UCF
UCF
doing what they were doing. If Milton was in that game,
they win.
doubt.
They win.
They
win.
win.
No
I
offense
agree.
to Mac. He did an admirable job.
I'm not going to say they win. I'm going to say that goes down to the final possession.
They would win.
That quarterback from LSU took the biggest rocket shot I've seen a D lineman give a quarterback, then proceeded to throw 4 touchdowns.
And I'm happy for him.
And that was cool, man.
Joe had a rough, go at it.
He
did. Trying to get things done at Ohio State. Made a ballsy decision to go at LSU, and he balled out.
If you were watching NFL, but as the season concluded in Week 17, you saw Saquon Barkley break the rookie rushing record up in New York. And Saquon, even though we all hate the Giants in this basement for the most part, he's a fun guy to watch play football. He's amazing. Everything he does is kind of smooth and awesome. And I hate the fact that the Redskins have to play him for however many more years.
Yeah.
The guy
the Redskins show.
Well, I'm segueing into
no. We're segueing into the WCAC.
Yeah, this is still WCAC.
This week in history.
If you were watching the game, if you were watching the telecast, you saw that the guy whose record he broke, a guy named Tuffy Leemans. Now, if you're from the area, you know that
you're going history.
Well, you saw his name pop right up, and you knew he was from the Washington area. His history actually goes way, way deeper than just what I thought, and that's what Kevin and I had a conversation about earlier. But Tuffy Leemans he's from the WCAC.
You guys talk without me?
Well,
no. I went ahead. I went ahead and Raymond out on my own stuff and let Ken know how Raymond I was getting.
Go.
And you were Raymond out. And then we could do a WCC history of the week thing on just Bill McGregor being on at the beginning. But we decided to do this, and we can. Tuffy Leemans starts off at Oregon. We're talking 1932. Transfers to GW when they had football. Was an excellent program. Many of my grandfather's friends, guys I coached with, Art Kajoyan, Dooney Walders, a bunch of GW guys.
Yeah.
Tuffy Leemans is known as the greatest player in GW history. He had the NFL rookie rushing record in 1936 in the NFL with 830 yards. That's what Saquon broke.
For the Giants. The Giants record. Giants rookie record.
The NFL. Oh no, the Giants rookie record, but he led the NFL in rushing that year in 1936.
Yes.
Pardon me, the Giants rookie rushing record. He is basically now a DC guy at this time when he comes in there. He's an NFL Hall of Famer. Carroll's first coach in the history of Archbishop Carroll. Joe Gallagher's main assistant on his dominating 1950s championship teams. 1947, he says, was his best team of all time. That was the first year he brought Tuffy in. So Tuffy comes from an NFL Hall of Fame career, decides to set up shop around town here. St. Michael's Parish in Silver Spring is where he married his wife.
Bit of a hotbed.
The cradle. We'll get to that at some point.
We're going to do a whole show on
Morgan
St.
Woot and Joe Gallagher. There's so many guys that were part of that St.
Collins.
Michael's Parish. It's unbelievable. Moss Collins. 1936 football all-star game MVP. But like I said, first coach at Carroll, Moss Collins was his assistant when Moss Collins took over. It was after being Tuffy Leemans' assistant for these years. Local businessman, duck pin bowling lanes in Glenmont, dry cleaners. But
I miss duck pin bowling.
As the coach at Carroll, guys, he was the first head coach in the area to scrimmage against an all-black team. He set the precedent at that point in time. First guy he's known for ever doing that. He led the NFL in rushing, like I said. His number 4 is retired by the New York Giants.
Good Lord.
He played pro basketball in the offseason here in Washington, D.C. I mean, this guy's so cool, isn't he? I mean,
he is.
And
just for ass and giggles.
I hate the fact that he's buried at the Gate of Heaven Cemetery because there's too many of people that we love buried there, but it makes him one of us, and his time at St. John's as a coach and being Carroll's first head coach is the reason why we love this league. He's a big part of it. And he's an NFL Hall of Famer. He's our guy. Shout out to Coach Rob Harris putting that out on Twitter. What a great guy, the AD and football coach over at Carroll. I mean, this is just a great man, Rob Harris. You have a conversation with him, you walk away, and you're just feeling a little bit better about yourself, a little hop in your step. Mr. Positivity, thank you for the Tuffy Leemans, getting me started on my little journey on figuring all this stuff out. I could have done it for weeks.
We got to do more of those.
It's so cool.
I knew the name,
Raymond will
but I didn't know all that.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show you that this conference has legs, and no matter what you're doing sports wise, especially, and we could talk about any other aspect of life that the WCAC dominates in. In this space, we're going to spend our time on the sports side, and there's more than enough material ground there to cover. In this case, we just happened to be watching an NFL game. Saquon Barkley, a transcendent athlete in the NFL, tops a record of a guy who's a legend and a record setter of his own right in the WCAC. So. Well, let's get out on that.
Yeah, man.
We're going to come back. We're going to get back to our Tuesday night regimen. in short order, and we will have plenty more to talk about. We'll see if we can't find someone to bring on. There's no way we're topping Bill McGregor in 3 or 4 days' time. That's for darn sure. But we will have a thrilling WCAC conversation in a matter of days. I want to say thank you to you guys. I want to say Happy New Year, and I hope you guys are off to a great start to 2019.
Hey, the great start is you getting healthy enough, because I know you've been battling.
Yeah, no, glad to see you back on your feet a little bit.
Yeah, back on your
good.
feet doing this tonight. I know you stepped up for the team, and I know when you saw that Mr. Bill was stepping up, you knew it was time. It wasn't time to shut it down.
No.
And, I know you're hanging on by a thread over there. Well done, sir.
Hey.
It's game day, and you showed
game
up.
day.
Yeah, you showed up. Well done.
So I rang in the new year with a baby coming in 3 to 4 weeks, and just went on furlough in my day job.
That's so fantastic.
You know, it's been okay so far.
Yeah, I
But
don't know
thanks
how
for
to.
reminding me, Ken. I came here tonight to forget about that stuff.
The old shutdown. Well, one thing that's not shut down is the WCAC Spectacular. On behalf of Kevin Ricka and Tim Strachan, I'm Ken Marangolo, and this was the WCAC Spectacular.
It was spectacular.
All right.
Thank you, Bill.
Appreciate you.
Yeah,
Appreciate all you guys.
That's how generous can you be with your time
Yeah, it was great.
on the busiest day of your life?
I said when I called him
alive.
earlier just to make sure he was good to go. I said, it's been a crazy day. He goes, I have 51 more phone calls I know I have to make and 253 texts that I haven't gotten to yet.
He was awesome, man.
He always is.
I know, that was really
Thank
cool.
you, everybody. Thanks for hanging in there.